Welcome students to second part of lesson number 1, that is networking concepts. So in this our first topic is network topologies. So by definition, topology means the layout pattern in which various computers are connected to one another to form a network. Let us see some figures first. For example, here there is a central cable, and with this all the computers are connected in this fashion. Or we can connect computers in ring form like this. So all these are topologies. See definition again. Topology refers to the layout pattern in which various computers are connected to one another to form a network. The computers on network are also referred to as nodes. There are various types of topologies. The first is bus topology. In bus topology, all the computers are connected to a single cable called the bus. So this is your single cable. This cable is called bus, that is why it is called bus topology. And all these are nodes. The transmission of data from any computer travels through the length of the bus in both directions and can be received by all other computers on the network. If the address of a computer is that of the intended recipient means the computer which is going to receive data, it accepts the data, otherwise data is rejected. The advantage of bus topology is that it is quite easy to set up. However, a network cannot function if there are breaks in the bus. Now next is ring topology. So in ring topology, each computer is connected to two other computers, one left, one right. See this node, it is connected with this one, and it is also connected with this one. So two computers, so as to form a closed ring-like structure. Here data is transmitted in one direction only. You can see arrows. So these are anti-clockwise, or clockwise also data can be transferred, but it will be in one direction only. One disadvantage of ring network is that the breakdown of any one computer on a ring can disable the entire system or network. For example, if this node fails, then the entire network system fails. Next we have star topology. So in this topology, all the computers are connected to a central computer or a central node, and this central computer is also called server because it provides services to all the computers. The data to be exchanged between any two computers passes through this central node. Let us see the figure. So this is your central node, our main computer. So if this node wants to send a message to this node, then data has to go through this central node. It cannot bypass it. So all computers are connected like this, so it looks like a star, but actually star topology is not like this. For example, in our school's computer lab, all the computers are connected together, but not in star topology fashion. It is star topology, but there is no central computer in the center. The central computer will be somewhere at the end. Okay, so let us see again. In star topology, all the computers are connected to central computer or a central node. The data to be exchanged between any two computers passes through central node. The central node controls all the activities of the nodes. More computers can be connected easily to this network. The breakdown of computers except the central node does not affect the functioning of the network. So this is one advantage. If this node fails, still this network will work. However, the failure of central node disables the communication across the entire network. It is obvious. If central node fails, then the whole system fails. Now next is mesh topology. See these two figures. Here every computer is connected with every other computer. So many wires are there. It looks like mesh. Mesh means jali, and this is your partial mesh. In mesh topology, every computer is connected to every other computer on the network. Full mesh topology is very expensive to implement. Normally, partial mesh topology is implemented in which a computer is connected to a few other computers in the network. Normally, we avoid mesh topology. The most famous one topologies are bus topologies, star topologies, etc. So topology is finished. Now we have transmission media. How data is transmitted. For example, if you want to transmit sound from one place to another, we need air. If air is not there, sound cannot travel. It means sound needs a medium to travel. Similarly, data also needs a medium to travel. Media is plural of medium. So let us see on your screen. Computers must be connected to each other to form a network. Computers can be connected using wires, also called cables, or they can be connected in a wireless manner. For example, you can chat using WhatsApp without wires. The first is wired transmission media. There are various types of cables that can be used for setting up network. Some of them are. So first is twisted pair cable. So let us see its diagram first. So this is your twisted pair cable, or this one. If you see clearly, there are very thin wires twisted together. Here also these wires are twisted together, and on these twisted wires there is a covering or shield to protect it from external disturbances. Then all these shielded twisted pair cables are connected by an insulator in a bundled form. Here there is no shield, so this is a bad quality twisted pair cable. Now let us see what is inside nodes. It consists of a pair of insulated, that means made of plastic, insulated wires twisted together. The use of two wires twisted around each other helps to reduce disturbances in the signals. The twisted pair cable is often used in two or more pairs, all within a single cable. Twisted pair cabling comes in two varieties: shielded or shielded twisted pair (STP) and unshielded, that is unshielded twisted pair or UTP. UTP cable is most commonly used cable in computer network. Twisted pair cable is often used in 2 or more pairs, all within a single cable. See, all the pairs are inside this single cable, black. Twisted pair cabling comes in 2 varieties. I think this paragraph is being repeated. Okay, let us see next type of cable. Coaxial cable, in short coax. So this is your cable TV's cable. It can be found normally in every house. See this figure first. This is your copper wire in the center. This is the main carrier of data. It is also called conductor. This is your insulator made of plastic, and this is your outer shield to protect it again from external disturbances, and all this is protected or covered by plastic sheath or insulating layer. So this is your coaxial wire. So coaxial cable is an electrical cable with a conductor at its center. The inner conductor is surrounded by a tubular insulating layer. So this is just like a tube. The insulating layer is surrounded by a conductive layer called the shield, which is finally covered with a thin insulating layer on the outside. Now this is your optical fiber cable. Optical fiber cable consists of a central glass core. So this is your glass core, a core made up of glass-like material, surrounded by several layers of protective material. It transmits data in the form of light, not electric signals. So there is no problem of external interference or external disturbance. Fiber optic cable is expensive as compared to coaxial and twisted pair cables, but it can transmit signals over much longer distances. It also has the capability to carry data at very high speeds. You already know speed of light is the fastest in the universe. And see this line again, it transmits data in the form of light. So you can imagine the speed of data. The data is transmitted along with this light. So data transfer speed is the fastest in optical fiber cable. Now we have second type of transmission media, that is wireless. In wireless networks, data is transmitted without wires. So let us see them one by one. First is infrared. The infrared communication range of the devices communicating through infrared waves is very limited. For example, remote control of your TV. Its range is very limited. So it is a direct communication between TV set and remote. And if some obstacle is there in between remote and TV set, it does not work. Infrared waves cannot penetrate walls, cannot pass through walls or other obstructions, and so there should be no physical barrier between communicating devices. The communication between a TV set and a remote control happens through infrared waves. Next is microwave transmission. Microwave communications are unidirectional. Uni means one. So it is always in single one direction only. They can be used for terrestrial communication. Terrestrial means earth. Means that communication which is on the surface of the earth. Or for satellite communication. Microwave propagation is line of sight communication. Microwave propagation means traveling of signals from one place to another. That's it. So when used for terrestrial communication or communication on earth, the towers with antennas mounted on them need to be in direct sight of each other. You might have seen antennas. The towers, then there we have antennas, transmitters or receivers. They should contact with other antennas on other towers in direct sight of each other. If direct sight is not there, they cannot communicate. The antennas are usually located at substantial heights above the ground level to extend range between antennas and to be able to transmit over obstacles. That is why height of towers are too much. You must have noticed high towers with microwave antennas in your city. Microwaves can pass through Earth's atmosphere easily and can be used to transmit information between satellites and Earth's base station. See these two figures. This is your tower and here we have microwave antennas. This is your microwave transmission, a dish which is taking signals from a satellite and sending signals to satellite. Now we have radio wave transmission. See this figure. This is your radio wave antenna with a tower. There are some differences between radio wave transmission and microwave transmission. Let us see what are the differences. Radio wave communication are omnidirectional. First difference. Omni means everywhere, which means that they travel in all directions, whereas microwave travels only in one direction. So radio waves travel in all directions from the source, so that the transmitter and receiver do not have to be carefully aligned physically. So it means they need not to be in line of sight. Transmitter and receiver can be anywhere. For example, people used to listen to songs and news or cricket commentary on radio anywhere. So radio waves are easy to generate. They can travel long distances and penetrate through buildings easily. They can travel through buildings easily. They can pass through buildings easily. Microwaves do not. So they are widely used for communication both indoors and outdoors. However, at all frequencies, radio waves are subject to interference from motors and other electrical equipments. For example, if somebody is listening a radio and a motorcycle passes by, then there can be some disturbance in the sound of that radio. So it means there are some interferences. This is a drawback. Now we have Bluetooth technology. Everybody knows Bluetooth, and you might have used it frequently. It is used for exchanging data on mobiles or smartphones, that is over short distances using radio waves, but of very short range. So this is a small difference. This technology uses low power and has short range, that is only approximately 30 feet, and medium transmission speed. Speed is medium, speed is very less. Bluetooth technology can be used to transfer songs or pictures between two mobile phones, or a Bluetooth headset can be used with a mobile phone. And there are some other examples also which you can specify. Next is Wi-Fi technology. It also makes the use of radio waves, but with different frequencies. So we can transmit and receive data using Wi-Fi technology. This technology requires more energy but enables the signal to go farther. For example, 300 feet with a faster rate of transmission. This technology is used to set up networks in which a computer's wireless adapter is found inside a laptop. Every laptop has wireless adapter in it. It is a part of hardware. It translates the data into radio signals and transmits it. A wireless router receives the signals, decodes it, and sends it to the internet using a wired connection. Now next is WiMAX, or Worldwide Interoperability for Microwave Access. Its technology is similar to Wi-Fi, but it operates at higher speeds and can cover greater distances and greater number of users as compared to Wi-Fi. Normally we do not use WiMAX at homes. WiMAX are used normally in big hospitals, hotels, railway stations, malls, etc. So this was your last topic. Rest will be covered in third part. Okay students, thank you for this time.